Okay. Chaim, you with us?
Yes.
Good morning, Masechet Pesachim. We are in Chavav Amud Bet, Baruch Hashem, 26b. We are discussing a machloket Abaye and Rava. Just to repeat, we are speaking about now what's called Hana'a Be'al Kocho. Hana'a haba li'adam be'al kocho. So what is hana'a haba li'adam be'al kocho? Meaning you're going to have a benefit, you're going to have a pleasure, but you didn't intend for that. You didn't ask for that, but it is coming. And it's from something asur, Rabbi Mordechai. So let's, now, just to give a little akdama, we had two ways of explaining this. One way is, it depends on the machloket, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon in Masechet Shabbat. There is a machloket, Rabbi Yehuda bar Ilai and Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai in Masechet Shabbat in what's called Dvar she'eno mitkaven. So for example, you have a chair and you want to drag it across the backyard, a big bench, and it's going to make a charitz inside the ground. That charitz inside the ground, that's choresh, that's asur. You just made a hole in the ground, that's asur. But I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this and this happened. Now of course, it's not going to happen, it's not guaranteed that it's going to happen. It could happen. It's possible that it might happen. So it's called dvar she'eno mitkaven. But if it did happen, what happens? So meaning it's heavy that it might happen, but it might not happen. So according to Rabbi Shimon says, there's no avera over there. Dvar she'eno mitkaven, Rabbi Shimon says mutar. Rabbi Yehuda says asur. So far so good. And on this we had a machloket between Abaye and Rava. So just to make it very simple, what came out yesterday is in Shitad Rabbi Yehuda is that you have two paths. Okay, actually one path. You have one path according to Rabbi Yehuda. And on this one path, you have to go to the next side. There's no choice. You have no choice to go over there. There's Pidyon Shvuyim over there. You have to go there to do a big mitzvah. You have to go there to get matzah for Pesach. There's no choice to go on this bridge. And on this bridge, there is a Beit Avodah Zarah over here. And the Beit Avodah Zarah is lighting ketoret. And the ketoret, the smell comes, and it smells good. And you whiff it. What is the halakha over here? So, you went there, Hana'a bar li'adam be'al kocho. So we said, Shitat Rava is, very interesting, since I had no choice to go on the path, so Shitat Rabbi Yehuda is that it's mutar. Even though Rabbi Yehuda is machmir, we look at the beginning. Since you had no choice to go on the path, even though the zana, even if you're mitkaven, even if you want to smell it, since you had no choice to go there, says Rava, in Shitat Rabbi Yehuda, that's mutar. And Abaye said that's not mutar. So far so good. So basically we're going to try to disprove that right now. We're going to bring a case that seems to disprove that. But either way what it is, when you have to do something and you have no choice but to do that, and you have a pleasure, a hana from something which is asur, is that mutar or it's asur? Abaye says mutar. Let's see what the Gemara says over here. The Gemara says, Tashma. Aveda lo yishchatena ad gebe mita. So we're in Chavav Amud Bet, but we're a little bit towards the top of the page, about 7 lines down from the top. Oved denaychale dot tashma. See it? First word is ubad denaychale. See it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lines from the top. Chavav Amud Bet. God, you have it?
Yeah.
Chaim, you have it? Okay. Chavav Amud Bet. Tashma. Yes, you have it, Mordechai?
Yeah.
Tashma. Aveda lo yishchaten ad gebe mita v'lo ad gebe amot. You find the beautiful sheet. You find the beautiful carpet. You find the beautiful drapery. Okay? Now, you have to keep that. It's a aveda. And you know that you're going to find the Jewish owner. You have to put a sign up in order to give back the mitzvah of hashavat aveda. Are you allowed to use that in the meantime? Look, I have a table. I found a beautiful tablecloth. So I'll use the tablecloth in the meantime. I find Mordechai's tablecloth. I don't know what's Mordechai's. I'm going to put up signs. In the meantime, I'm going to use it for my table. Are you allowed to do that? Magod. Magod is basically a peg. So they used to have pegs and they used to spread things out in the like a tent or something like that. Litzorko, you're not allowed to do it litzorko. You're not allowed to use the item of the guy that you're watching it. You found something, you got to put it aside and don't do it. You're going to be ruining it if you're using it. That's litzorka. But shotcha litzorka. But if you need to use it so that it shouldn't become moldy, sometimes if you leave something in a drawer and put it in a box, put it in the basement, what's going to happen after a few years? It's going to become ruined. Funny, yeah? Not using something makes it become ruined. So now I want to use the tablecloth to air it out, to make sure it doesn't come stale, to make sure it doesn't come moldy. I'm putting it onto the table for the purpose to save it. Is that mutar? You're allowed to. But now if I have a guest that comes from Eretz Yisrael, I have important people coming to my house. My tablecloth is not so nice. This tablecloth is a nice one, but this is the one that's supposed to be, it's the Avidah. And of course, I was leaving it out. I left it out the last week for the airing it out. Now I have a guest, I have to take it away. Lo yishchatena, lo al gebi mita v'lo al gebi magod. Now you're not allowed to. Ben nitzorka, ben nitzorko. So you see over here, this is a big kusha. So what did we just say? You're not allowed to leave it out. I'll give you
to bring it back in.
To spread
you
it
gotta
out.
you gotta put it back in the drawer. You gotta hide it. The people cannot see it. So what did we just see now? I find a tablecloth. If the tablecloth doesn't need to be put out for its own sake, I'm not allowed to. I gotta keep it in the drawer. If I need to take it out to air it out, I'm allowed to. If I have guests, I gotta put it back in the drawer. Nobody should see it, even if it's the good of the tablecloth. And what do we see over here? So what do we see? This is a kushya on Shitat Rava. Why is it a kushya on Shitat Rava? Because I have no choice, right? It's like you have one path. I have no choice but to put it out. And even though I'm going to put it out, it is for it itself, but I'm going to get a benefit. What's the benefit? My guest from New York is going to see, wow, what a nice tablecloth you have. Since I'm getting a benefit, when I have it in my house alone, it seems like there's no benefit. I'm just putting it out to air it out. Now I put it out and the guest is going to see it. It looks like there is a benefit. And I'm not allowed to. So this is a kushan rava. I'm doing something which I have no choice to do, but I'm getting a benefit, which I'm happy to get the benefit indirectly. I'm getting the benefit. And we're still saying that it is so. Kushan rava answers the Gemara, and you'll take it in a second. The Gemara says, Shani atam, it's different. The kalile imishum inabisha imishum ganve. No, it's different. Really, it's mutar. But here the problem is, I could have a guy, he's a tsar ayin, he's coming from Florida, he's looking at my things, it could cause ayin around the tablecloth. So since I'm watching your tablecloth to keep it to save it, to be shomeroto, if somebody's going to put ayin around the tablecloth, could use it. Or it could be a ganav. A guy comes in, he sees the situation, nice things in the house, he's going to come back, the person's going to come back 2 weeks and steal. Yes?
How do you know that person who loves the tablecloth in use? Because you're assuming that you have to keep it. What's the time frame?
Very nice. So there is rules to know if a person made yush, and it depends on where you found the item. If you found the item in a Jewish neighborhood with shomrei mitzvot people, I found it, for example, I'm here in Tosh. I'm in Tosh and I found the tablecloth. There's no reason why you're going to have yush. If you're in Tosh, you're going to lose your phone, you're not going to have yush. You know why? Because you're sure some chassid's going to find it, he's going to give back to you. Because he knows the mitzvot. So depending on where the item is, if it has a certain siman, and it's a place where people give back, there's no yush. The same item lost in Manhattan, you're going to give up on it, because you know some guy is going to find it, he's not going to give back to you. So even though if I find your item, and I know that it's yours, I don't have to give it back. So basically we have no kushi over here. Yes?
Second question. How is this related to Pesachim? That's where I'm kind of disconnected from...
Good. So now you need to know an important thing. Whenever we learn Gemara, Shulchan Aruch is Mesudar. Shulchan Aruch, this is Talmud Bavli. Everything is mixed up over here. The Shulchan Aruch, what is Shulchan Aruch? It takes from over here and codifies it. The Rambam, a codifier. We put it in order. Okay? These halachot. This is all together. So we start with Pesachim, but as soon as we have something connected with Pesachim, you know that rabbi is trying to say shiur, and all of a sudden there's a lot of tangents, and we never finish the shiur? The Gemara does finish, but it's sort of like that. We go on tangents, we go here. Since we're discussing Isurei Hana'ah of Chametz, so we're discussing these Isurei Hana'ah. Since we're studying about Hana'ah of Chametz, we're speaking about Hana'ah of the other things, this is the place to interject it. Now, how does it? It does have to do with Chametz, because Chametz is Asur Be'Hana'ah. And now, what's the Hanacha of Hana'ah that you're not intending to have Hana'ah? Understand? So that's why it comes over here. The Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch codifies everything. Now, Pisod, everything has to be this exact way. There's a certain tikkun that happens when we're learning it. This mahalech of this page of Gemara, this is a certain tikkun that a person has to go through. Let's go weiter. Okay, that was one way thing. There was another way of explaining. I want you to hold on to this. It's very simple. Actually, let's go back in Shitat Rabbi Shimon. Shitat Rabbi Shimon is Dvar she'enu mitkaven is mutar. When I have a bench and I'm taking it from this side of the backyard to this side of the backyard, and I make the charitz. I didn't do it on purpose. Is that mutar? Is that okay for Rabbi Shimon? Yes. So far so good. Machloket Abaye and Rava. Abaye says it's always mutar even if you could do it a different way. For example, there's a heavy table. I can't pick it up on my shoulder. So I'm allowed to drag it from one side of the backyard to the other side of the backyard. The charitz comes, I don't care. But if it is something light, I can pick up the chair. It's a chair, I can pick it up. I don't need to drag it. Are you still allowed to drag it? Rava says, no way. Dvar she'en mitkaven is only if you had no choice. But if you had a choice, says Rava, you're not allowed to. Abaye says, no. Dvar she'en mitkaven is mutar. If I'm not intending to do the isur, it's mutar. Let's discuss that. So here, one more kushya. Tashma, mochek sut, mochin kedarkan, ובלבד שלא יתכוון בחמה מפני חמה ובגשמים מפני הגשמים. So you have a person that's selling kilayim. He's selling shatnez. Are you allowed to sell shatnez to a goy? You're allowed to sell shatnez to a goy. There's no isur hana and shatnez. You can't wear shatnez. Okay? So now the guy's selling shatnez. How is he going to wear it? How would you sell the things before? You know, the guy goes out. Today we have advertisements with the guy, a model wearing a jacket. But it used to be that the guy's selling his things. He has the things there and he's wearing it. He's wearing it to show you, look at this jacket, look at this sweater, look at this talit. This is a great talit, come buy it. He's allowed to wear the shatnez so long as he's wearing it to sell. He's not wearing to benefit. Wearing clothes, by definition, is to protect yourself from the elements. So if it's cold outside and you're wearing it to warm up, you're not allowed to. If it's windy outside, if it's sunny outside and you're going to get a sunburn, if you don't cover your arms, so you're wearing it to cover your arms, you're wearing the shatnez hat to cover, you don't get a sunburn on the forehead, you're allowed to, you're not allowed to. Only if you're wearing it just as a sample, just to show it off, you're allowed to. That you're allowed to. But the Mishnah says, why is that, by the way? Because it's dvar she'eino mitkaven. Dvar she'eino mitkaven is mutar. That sinuin, says the Gemara. But if a person is a tzaddik, he's called sanua. Interesting. A guy is machmir. A guy is mehader. At snuin, mafshilin nachorem. No, bimaker. He takes a little stick, he puts it on the back, and he's holding it on his back. He's showing it to you like this. He's not wearing it. Nice jacket for sale. Nice blanket for sale. He's showing it to you on a stick. He's not wearing. Why? Because he's sanua. But it's mutar. I know. I don't want to. Many times you have a case like that. It's mutar. What's the problem? Not everything is mutar. We need to. What did we just learn in Sichot Haran? The Chasidim used to say, asur is asur. And mutar, not everything is mutar, it's needed. Not everything is mutar. Not everything is mutar you have to do. I don't want to do it. I don't want to wear it. You're allowed to not wear it? Very good. So what do we see over here? That's nuin. Ve'achad efshar le'me'abed mikitznuin. V'kilo mikaven shareh. So 1 second. We just saw over here that even though you could do like the tznuin, you don't have to. So therefore, if you're wearing the shatnez, you're having a benefit. Dvar she'eino mitkaven. Even though there's another way to do it, it's still mutar. Tiyufta linman damar. So what we just said in Shitat Rava, that according to Rabbi Shimon, it's only allowed to bring a bench that's a heavy bench, and you're not allowed to bring a small chair. Not true. Dvar she'eino mitkaven is mutar, so long, even if there's another way to get around it. We saw over here from Shatnez. Let's go weiter. So now, by the way, what did we just do? Our Mishnah started a lot of pages ago, but we started this Mishnah on Daf Chaf Aleph, and we're already in Chaf Vav Amud Bet. One of the things we said in our Mishnah is you are not allowed to, when it's the Zman Asur Be'ana'ah of Chametz, you can't light your oven with Chametz. So now we're going back to Chametz Rabbi Shon. So now it's Asur to eat Chametz, right? It's Asur to benefit from Chametz. On the day before Pesach, Asur to benefit. Okay, but I have to burn it. Are you allowed to burn it by putting it in your oven? I want to light my oven, so I'm going to light the oven with chametz. So good, I'm allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do. You're benefiting from the chametz as a fuel to cook whatever you want to cook. So now we're going to discuss that. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, Tanu shisiko bikipre orla or bikipe or bikashim. So now you have orla, which is sur b'ana. And for example, pomegranate. Did you know that pomegranate shell, the outside, you can actually use it as fuel. You can use it as a firewood. You can light an oven with that. So if you lit your oven, which used to be a clay oven, don't forget that. The ovens used to be clay. So you lit your oven with these things of orla. So kilaya kerim is also asur b'ana. Kilayim, when we plant the vineyard and the wheat together, it's also asur b'hana. So now you lit them together. Hadash yutatz, yashan yutzan. So it's very interesting. If it's a new oven, you gotta break the oven. Can't use the oven anymore. Because you just created the oven with that fuel. Did you know that the way to make pottery is they used to make pottery. They used to take a plate made of like clay, form it up into a bowl, and they used to put it into a kiln. A kiln is a very, very high heat oven for a certain amount of time. Put it in, the heat will solidify it. They even do that today. Today, when you have your pottery, they put it in and they put a glass glaze. When you're eating on your porcelain, it's really China. China, it used to be made in China. Porcelain is basically clay that has a tiny, tiny 1/500th, 1 out of 500 of an inch, I think, or even a centimeter, that's plating the clay. So how do you get that? You put it into a very, very hot oven, and it solidifies the plate. So if you have an oven that you made it, and now you actually solidified it with, what did you solidify it? With orla. So you just made it with orla. You just caused it to become asur. It's embedded. You know, the whole thing you made is an asur oven. The whole oven now is asur. We're going to speak about it in a few minutes, but remember that. If it's an new one, actually the oven needs to be broken. If it's a new one, if it's an old one, all you have to do is cool down the oven. Don't cook anything with that fuel. What did you put in the fuel? I put the orla. You can't cook with the orla, because what's going to happen when you're going to cook with the orla, pomegranates, you're going to make asur all the food.
The orla is not only consumption.
Also hana. Also benefits. So if you're going to cook from it, you just got hana from it. If you got hana from it, so just cool down the oven. Basically, the guy cooks on Shabbos by accident. A goy cooks you on Shabbos. Can you eat it? Can't eat it. So what do we do with the food? You threw out the food? No, don't do it. You wait the amount of time that it took to cook. Took to cook an hour on Shabbos, so you're going to now eat it 1 hour after Shabbos. You don't eat it the man after Shabbos.
So first of all, it's bishul goy, and second, it's Shabbat.
We're talking about bishul goy that might be mutar. Like, for example, ana maseh Shabbat. So let's say a bishul that might be mutar because it's not bishul akum. Anyways, so same thing over here. Cool down your oven and use it again. You don't have to break the oven. That is speaking about an oven. Okay, got this? I want you to hold this. So the new oven you got to break, God, and an old oven, just cool it down. That was speaking about the oven. When it comes to bread, afabo apat. So now you light with this forbidden substance. And now you're baking bread. Rabbi omer apat asura. Rabbi says the pat asur. Chamim umrim apat muteret. Chamim say the pot is mutter. So basically I have the fire over here. I put the oil inside. I'm making the bread. And it's cooking the bread. Rabbi says that fire is an asur fire. And that fire cooked the bread b'isur. So now the extension of the isur hana'ah goes into the bread. The bread was made with an isur hana'ah. You cannot eat the bread. Chachamim say you're allowed to eat the bread. You know why Chachamim say you're allowed to eat bread? Because fire is not the same isur. In other words, yes, the ola pits, the ola shell is asur. But once you burn it, that's not ola anymore. That's the way that Chachamim look at it.
Fruits, I mean, they're meant to eat, right? That's their intent. Right?
Yeah.
So the main, you're not buying fruit or selling fruit in order to make fire. Right? It's not a direct choice. There's not a leniency.
Good question.
It's not a real benefit. It's not the intent of the food.
What John is asking is what we spoke about a few days ago. When you benefit something, not the regular way of eating or benefiting, that's not called a benefit. Yeah. Here, we're not talking about the fruit. We're talking about the shell of the pomegranate.
Which is used for fuel.
That's it. I took out all the seeds. I ate them. What are you going to do with this? They actually used to use it to burn. This is the usage. If you don't have firewood, use pomegranate.
We're not used to it today because we got everything ready for us.
Exactly.
In the old days, everything that you had multiple purposes. And so the shell, when it dries out, it's actually, you can light it up.
That's exactly right. So it's a really regular usage. So what do we see over here? Machloket Rebbe and Chachamim. How do we look at the fire? Do we look at the fire like an extension of the orla? Yes, Rebbe, and according to Chachamim, no. By the way, Chachamim would also say, even if you light your oven with the, you don't have to break it. The new oven, you don't have to break it.
Why does Chachamim allow the bread?
Because once you burn the klipa, the pomegranate shell, there's no more pomegranate shell. What are you benefiting? You're benefiting from fire? That fire is not the shell. That's a separate entity. You burnt it, it's gone. Rebbe looks as an extension. The energy that you use, the way you got your fire, it's an extension. Chachamim say no, that's a new entity. It's completely burnt off. Now, if you use the bishar gibin kechanim, divrei hakol mutar. But if you didn't burn with the fire, you burned with coals, you cooked with coals. Coals are still hot. So now, if you take the ola and it becomes coals, That's gone. When I burn it and the first fire that comes out of it, that's asur according to Rebbe. But when it turns into coals and I use it, sometimes you can relight a coal, right? It still has like the ability to ignite a fire and to light on with it. So the coals, the ola is gone. I burned the ola, I burned the pomegranate shell, now I make it into a coal, and now I'm going to relight the coal, and that coal is that's not ola, that's gone. So even Rebbe that's machmir with the fire will agree with that this is mutar. The Gemara says, V'atanya ben chadash ben yashan yutzan. Problem. We just said a new oven you got to break, and an old oven you can keep. 1 second. I have another brighter that says a new oven you just let it cool down. Why do you need to break the new oven? By the way, la kasha ha Rebbe ha Rabbanan. So first answer is one is Rebbe and one is Rabbanan. So Rebbe, we just said, he considers the fire as a real fire, right? Rebbe, the fire is the olam. And according to Chachamim, it's not. So no problem. Our brighter above was Rebbe, and Rebbe said that when he said you break the new oven, that's Rebbe, and Chachamim say you don't have to break the new oven. That's Chachamim. The Gemara says, "Emo d'shaman le Rebbe mishum deyesh shevach etzim bepat." Big question. Yes, Rebbe, I understand that you consider the firewood, the fire as an extension of the firewood. But when you solidify an oven, what are you going to do with the oven? You're going to start eating the oven? You're not eating the oven. You're going to use the oven to bake another time, right? And when you use the oven to bake, how do you bake? You put in new firewood. So imagine, yes, I use the orla to make my oven. I got it. The oven is sort of asur. I can't benefit from the oven, can't eat the oven. But when I'm putting in new bread, I'm putting in new firewood. The new firewood is also responsible for the cooking of the new bread. The combination of the two is called zeh v'zeh gorem. This is an important concept in all shas. So you have two elements which are causing the third element. Element number one, the forbidden orla oven. Element number two, the new kosher permissible firewood. I light the firewood inside the confines of this oven, and that energy together causes the new bread to be baked. That is called zeh v'zeh gorem. I understand that Rebbe understands the fire is asur, but does Rebbe say zeh v'zeh gorem asur? Because we're going to see that seems to be only the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. Only Rabbi Eliezer is the one that says that's asur. And the Gemara is going to say, yes, in fact, it wasn't Rebbe. Zeh v'zeh gorem is a big machloket if it's asur mutter, and Rabbi Eliezer is the one that says it's asur. That's what it says here. Mishamane elalo kasha ha Rabbi Eliezer Rabbanan. So really it's Rabbi Eliezer. So now we have a new opinion. When you light the oven, the new oven, you can't use it in the future because even if you're going to use it with something else which is permissible, Rabbi Eliezer says that zeh v'zeh gorem is asur. Where do we see that? Hi, Rabbi Eliezer. Where did we see in Shas that Rabbi Eliezer says zeh v'zeh gorem asur? Inima Rabbi Eliezer, so well, we have found it in one braita. There is a braita Tanan. There's a Mishnah that says Seo shel chulin v'shel truma shnaflu l'toch isa v'en bo kedei lachnitz. So imagine now you have some dough, and the dough you got to put some yeast inside of it, some leavening agent, and that is called seo. So you have yeast that's from truma, you have yeast that's from chulin. Okay, don't forget truma is off limits. Truma is only for the Kohen. Let's just speak about a regular case. You have your wife made a regular dough, and there's no yeast inside. It's not gonna bake. So your guy comes and throws in some sov inside. What did he throw in? I threw in this one. That's truma. Everything's gone because it only leavened, it only baked because of truma off limits. If you put chunin, regular one, no problem. What if I put both? I put a little bit chunin, and let's say I do it like this. Let's say, for argument's sake, I put first the chunin, I put first the truma, and then I put the chunin. Let's assume that. So what is the halakha? And each one on its own, it's not enough. You need a certain amount of yeast to make it grow. This one can be machmitz on its own, and this one can be machmitz on its own. So what do we do? Ve'en bezeh kedei lachmitz, ve'en bezeh kedei lachmitz. V'nitztarfu. Now they come together and they cause it to grow. V'chamtzu. Rebbe Eliezer omer, achar acharon ani ba. I follow the last one. So we're going to see what Abai says for them in a second. We go with the last one. So the last one is chametz asur. וחכמים אומרים, בין שנפל איסור לכתחילה, בין שנפל איסור לבסוף, לעולם אין איסור, עד שיהיה בו כדי להחמיץ. Still have a few more minutes to get by. So it's only asur, it's completely mutar. According to Chachamim, it's mutar unless each one had the ability to be because chametz on its own. Meaning, it's mutar. Why is it mutar? Because we don't hold with zeh v'zeh gorem. If the truma one couldn't have caused the chametz on its own, I have no problem, chachamim. But Rabbi Eliezer says we go with the last one. So far, so good. Now the Gemara says.
Truma is only for kohanim. So why would they allow truma?
Because the truma didn't cause my chametz. A combination, my bread is not from truma. The proof is, if the truma would have fallen on its own, it wouldn't have been.
It came from the chulin.
Two. One bowl of blue fell in, one bowl of red fell in. Together, if each one would have fell on its own, it wouldn't have caused chametz. The fact that they come together, it caused chametz. Now I ask you a question, Chamim says. Did the red truma one cause my chametz? No. Because the proof is, it would have been the unknown, it wouldn't have done it. So you can't tell me it's usur because of the... I'm not having hana'ah from this. I'm having hana'ah from the combination of both.
Is it b'shaviyak or b'mezid?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
That means I can do it intentionally?
And but it's not the case over here.
But for the
Here it says nafal.
Nafal.
This was b'diavan.
It's not a video.
Yeah.
Okay,
But we're trying to understand who says chachamim. We don't care about. We want to know who says zeb zegron masur. It's Rabbi Eliezer, because Rabbi Eliezer said we go after the last one. V'amar Abaye, the way that Rabbi explained Rabbi Eliezer, lo shanu eresh shikadam b'sidek et ha'isur. So really the way that Rabbi Eliezer is explaining is when you took the truma fell in. Okay, truma fell in. You took out what did you do? Take it out. There's still a little bit of residue in there. There's still a little bit of yeast that fell inside. But it's batel. It's helping a little bit. And then the second one falls in. Now that's when Rabbi Eliezer says mutar according to Abaye. Aval lo kadam b'sidek et ha'isur asur. Al mazeh v'zeh gorem asur. So, but if you didn't take out the first one, then and it falls in, it's zeh v'zeh gorem asur. So therefore, what do we see over here? That according to Rabbi Eliezer, the way that Abai is explaining it, it's mutar only when you take out the first one. But if you didn't take out the first one, this fell in and this fell in, the combination of both makes it asur. We found Rabbi Eliezer says there's asur. So therefore we found the opinion that said our oven, you need to break the oven. Because now you can have an asur oven and an asur wood, which is going to cause the bread. We found the opinion. The Gemara says, why? Maybe Rabbi Eliezer, she does not like Abai. Abai is an amora. Maybe that has nothing to do with Abai. Maybe Rabbi Eliezer really means we go with the last one. What finished the job? Who's the closer? You know, I worked on a sale. The guy worked on a sale for 2 years. And then the last guy comes in, last day, finishes the deal. Who gets the commission? So maybe some companies will say they split it. Some will say whoever closed the deal. You closed the deal, you got it. Maybe some companies have like that. You know, you go into the store. Say that you spoke to me when you close, when you buy, because I'm going to get the commission. Whoever's the last guy that sold it. So maybe the Rabbi Eliezer has nothing to do with that. We made a whole ukimta over here. If the Abaye said if the first one fell in was asur, then the mutter one, maybe it has nothing to do with that. We go with whoever finished the job. The heter finished the job, it's mutar. The Isser finished the job, it's asur. If they fell in both together, it's mutar, because nobody finished the job. So we have not found yet an opinion that says there's a goyam asur. Because maybe when they fell together, this has nothing to do with that. They both finished the job, so it's mutar. So we have to say, לא שנה קדם מסילק את האיסור, לא שנה קדם מסילק את האיסור, אבל בת אחד אחרים דשארי. אלא רבי אליעזר דעצה אשרה. We found the bright of Rabbi Eliezer. Avodah azara trees. So the guy, there's a tree that did avodah zara, that people planted for this up, and people are doing avodah zara with the tree. Now you cut some branches of the tree. And what's the halakha? You take those branches, and what did you do? You can't use those branches. Hesek ba'et tanur. You lit an oven. Hadash yutatz. We found the opinion was here. You got to break the oven. Why do you got to break the oven? Because now the oven was made with atzah shera, and you're going to cook something else. It's there gorem. Yashan yutzan. If it's an old oven, let it cool down. Afabo tapat asura. If you bake bread with it, the bread is asur me'ana. If one bread mixed up with the second bread and the third one and fourth, they're all asur. That is the first opinion, which is Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Yulach Hanan Yamamelech. Okay, what did I gain over here? I saved $20, $50 of firewood. So now all my bread is asur. Come on, there's a bittul over here. It's all asur. You know what you can do, Rabbi Eliezer? Take $50 and throw $50 in the ocean. You benefit $50. You're not allowed to have benefit from $50 of firewood. Throw it in the ocean. Once you throw it in the ocean, we're going to go with a bittul and everything is mutar. So that's Shitat Rabbi Eliezer. But Amru en podin la'avodah zarah. And Chachamim say there's no such thing as pigeon for avodah zarah. You can't take the money out and throw it in the ocean. It's too bad. Everything is asur. But either way, Rabbi Eliezer here agrees with the Tanakama, and Rabbi Eliezer says zevig gorem asur. What did we just say? If you have a tree of avodah zarah, you guy took the wood, he lit an oven. What's the halacha with the oven? You got to break the oven. Why do I need to break the oven? The oven, even if I bake with it tomorrow, the only problem is going to be the new bread that's going to come out of it. But the bread is zevig gorem asur. It's going to be made from a combination of the oven, combination of the wood, and we still say that it's forbidden. So this is even though Tanakam over here, but Rabbi Eliezer agrees with it. So the halacha is we're going to Rabbi Eliezer. So emo the shamad de Rabbi Eliezer b'avodah zarah. So now we found the opinion. But maybe this is only for avodah zarah, because avodah zarah is very, very strict. So maybe we're going to be so machmir zevig avodah zarah. We're talking about Orla. We're talking about chametz and pesach. We're talking about kidei be'er, kidei keren. What about b'shar yisrim shebetorah? Mi shamade? Did we ever hear it? Ela inken, aman tarmaya. If we don't say it's Rabbi Eliezer, so we have no opinion. We have no source to say that the original Braita is that source. We have to find somebody that says it. You want to say it's not Rabbi Eliezer, so who is the original Braita that says you got to break the oven? Ve'od hatanya be'edja v'kenaya Rabbi Eliezer oser b'kol yisurim shebatorah. And also we have a Braita that says Rabbi Eliezer is oser with all the yisurim b'torah. Zev gorem asur for Rabbi Eliezer in all yisurim b'torah. Just to recap very quickly what we said. How much time was this, Amud?
31 minutes.
31 minutes. Let me recap this, okay? We have an opinion that says if you break, let's just repeat. If you bake bread with, you have orla that you're burning. You break the bread with the orla you're burning, shitat chachamim, no problem. Because the fire consumes the orla, there's no more orla. You're baking the bread with fire that has nothing to do with orla. It's not a subhana. According to Rebbe, the fire, at least the way we understood it till now, the fire is still an extension, it's asur. So the direct benefit from the fire becomes asur. There's an extra. Now, what about if you do an oven? If it's an old oven, just cool it down. Don't benefit from it. If it's a new oven, what did you just do? You just created the oven with this. And if you say the fire is asur, so now you created the fire with avodah zarah. The same way you can't eat the bread, you can't use the oven. Why can you not use the oven? Even if I use the oven tomorrow, it's not only the oven I'm using a combination of the oven and kosher firewood. So it's zev gorem asur. Who is that opinion? It is a Braita, and the Braita has Tanakama and Rabbi Eliezer. And in that Braita, there's a machloket. What do you do with oven? You got to break the oven. So the same situation, according to Tanakama and according to Rabbi Eliezer, you break the oven. We don't know who that Tanakama is, but he holds that zev gorem is asur. At least the very minimum, we can call him Rabbi Eliezer. But it's not only Rabbi Eliezer; it's Tanakama and Rabbi Eliezer. And in that Braita, there was a little machloket. If you bake bread, the bread is asur, but you break, and now the bread mixed up. So I baked one bread got mixed up over here. Okay, one bread. This bread is worth $50. This bread is worth $20. And this is asur. And now the guy goes in the bakery and he has challahs for 1,000 people for the suda, and he throws the challahs inside. So now all the challahs got mixed up in all these challahs. So now the challahs which are worth $20 are mixed up with 1,000 challahs. Says Chachamim, everything's asur. Hana from Avdazah, you throw everything in the garbage. Rabbi Eliezer says no. Take the $20, the worth of the bread, throw it in the ocean, and you're good to go. There's a bitul over here. Come on. And I'm not benefiting because I threw $20, I burned $20, I threw it in the garbage. And Chachamim say you can't do a bitul, you cannot do a pigeon to avodah zarah. So that's the machlok of Rabbi Eliezer and Chachamim in the bitul. But at least everybody agrees, both of them agree, that when it comes to the oven, you got to break the oven. Why? Because Tanakama and Rabbi Eliezer both hold ze gorem is asur. Now that's in avodah zarah. What about shar yisurin? Well, the shari soon, we already have a Braita that says you got to break the oven when it's orna. So if it's not Rabbi Eliezer, who is it? Second, we know that Rabbi Eliezer says, Hu adin, zev gorem asur in shar isurin. Chazak u baruch.